Hello, sir. How are you?
again.
Are you
Good to see you.
okay?
It's been a long time.
I know. I just recognized the handsome face. I said, I know that face. Are you
Good
okay?
to see you back.
Likewise, sir. How has life been treating you? Are you married again?
I've never been married. No,
I know. I'm asking, why have you not been married?
Why? We don't need to.
Don't blame it on
me
God, okay?
No, you can blame it on me. Blame it on me. Blame it on me. I think COVID's been a bit odd for all of us, is it?
What?
Yeah, COVID has
Oh,
been
yeah,
a bit
yeah.
odd
Yeah,
for
it has. It has.
all of us.
It has, but
I'm
I
sure.
will tell you something. It was like a holiday for me
Really?
because it was a break from everything. I mean, I am constantly on the
Been a
go.
lot of that.
Honestly.
Yeah, I think that
So you
came
did-
as a shock to people. Yeah.
It was an absolute pleasure, honestly. Yeah? So anyway, we met about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Over
I
2
do
years
remember.
ago.
Yep.
Surely by now you have changed your mind.
No,
You still haven't changed your mind. Come on.
I'm still as
As vehement as you were then.
certain of what I wasn't certain then, but I was pretty sure back then that
There probably was.
the belief I was
Thank
wearing
you.
on my t-shirt I still hold to. There's probably no God.
How can you...
Oh my-
Sorry. I've got to ask you.
You are going
2
to.
years... and you can say no if you want to. 2.5 years down the line,
Yeah.
how can you still be holding that same position? How?
Maybe I haven't even addressed that question
Ah.
in any more me. But then,
I understand.
What?
Yeah.
what possible reason would I have to? With that simple theological question about what should that mean to me in real terms over my living my day-to-day life
Okay.
for a number of practical, physical, material reasons.
Yeah.
Even if I was the most spiritual person imaginable,
Yeah.
I am still limited by, say, material, real concerns, the ones that are just in lockdown.
Yeah.
We've seen how it's affected people day to day. It's affected Muslims as much as Christians and atheists. It's affected all of us
Yeah.
in very real, in terms of work, in terms of home, in terms of health, in terms of money.
Yeah.
I have no need for God. Sorry to cut you off.
No, not at all. I was just going to ask you. So, from what you have said, the conclusion would be whether there is or there isn't, it doesn't make a difference to how we are living.
Looking at reality, obviously it does not. Even if I'm wrong, even if God exists,
Yeah.
as you describe or as someone else
Yeah.
describes,
Sure.
He doesn't care remotely about me or you or anyone. He doesn't. He can't do. We see that day to day.
Right. Okay. So, from what I gather, you have a standard which you want the Creator to achieve.
No, I'm not holding a creator to any standard that I impose on him. I do not know what standard your God.
Why then
I
would it
don't-
why then would it make a difference whether the Creator makes a difference to you or not?
Because
If you don't already have a standard.
Tell me he does.
No, I never said anything. I only asked you why are you still holding on to that position? Now, when we asked about it, you said, look at the pandemic and how it has
That's
affected
what-
everybody,
that is
just as a
one
reason.
example,
Yeah. And then you went on to say why you think, even if there was, he doesn't care about you, he doesn't care about me, he doesn't care about anything. So obviously for you to arrive at that conclusion, you already have a standard.
Have I come to my lack of belief using that standard? Every guy here,
Yeah.
everyone in this park,
Yeah.
they are variable in almost infinite ways, in character, in education, in upbringing, parenting, in life experience, in health, particularly health. I have a health, definitely. We can see that life is a hugely variable matter, which almost infinitely so.
But I can agree totally with you, but you know what? Whatever you are saying on a logical footing does not in any way establish the non-existence of a creator.
I don't need to though, do I?
No, it's not whether you do or you don't, but your logical reasoning applied is not leading you to a logical conclusion.
I'm sorry, I failed to see how that
I'll tell you how.
Right, okay.
I do apologize, I'll tell you how. Look, if whether there is a creator or not does not make a difference to our lives, that's your perspective, And then I said to you, well, look, it seems like there's a standard you are holding the creator to. And then when you said, no, you don't, I said, look, you said he doesn't care about me, he doesn't care about anybody, Then when I said you must be holding him to a standard, you then said, well, actually, I may have not used that standard to arrive at the conclusion about probably not being God, What I am saying to you is, look, if you take your reasoning logically to its conclusion, whether there is a creator or not, it doesn't make a fundamental difference to the position you are holding. Is that not correct?
Logically, I think so, yes.
Excellent. Now, if logically we are able to apply reasoning like that and now include the creator, it still comes to the logical conclusion.
It does?
It certainly does. Because if in your being or in the interaction of yours, you can't see any sign of this creator, it fundamentally doesn't make a difference. So even if there is a creator, it doesn't make a difference. So the question therefore arises is this: why do we have this innate need to try and find things out?
Humans, all of us, to a degree, variously, we are a curious creature.
Yes.
I can imagine that people not knowing the answer in life, there's a great many things which are
thank you.
Unknown.
There you are, sir.
They're indeterminate. We don't know. It must have been very easy for primitive men, especially, to invent an explanation over remaining in ignorance. It's much easier, much better to invent any explanation over remaining in ignorance about something unknown.
You know what? It sounds reasonable, but the issue is not that. The issue is, why are we a creature that wants to find things out? Why? Look, for example, let me ask you this. If I remain in ignorance, I wouldn't need to develop laws. Do we agree?
Yes, because
if I don't develop laws, I can be as free as my being wants me to be.
Life would be absolute madness.
Wait a minute, that's a presumption. One second.
We can see through reality. We can see through
No. One second.
experience.
One second. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten your name, sir.
James
Shabir.
I knew it was Shabir. I remember from years ago.
Excellent, James. I tell you what, James, look, the point I'm making is, if I remain in ignorance, I am totally free. Am I not?
At an individual level, you are, yes.
Excellent. Now, if each and every individual thought the same, we would all be in ignorance, wouldn't we?
Yes.
And we would all be totally free.
Free is relative, depending on my.
Look.
I think I should be. You're the most decent, pleasant man in this park.
Oh, okay,
I
thank
think
you.
You're being disingenuous.
I certainly am not. I'll tell you why. There's a reason for why I'm asking. Look, I know that it is the very need for us to have a social system that has allowed us to think about a legal system. Why? So that our social construct can have a behavior pattern which is consistent with all the people living in that society. Do we agree?
Yes,
Now, watch this. Go on, tell me, James, what?
we can see how that need to arrive at law collectively has varied massively over time around the world.
It has.
Affecting tribes,
Yeah,
people, a larger collective, nations, kingdoms, empires.
yeah,
Laws vary
yeah.
massively. I think if we could somehow transport ourselves back 1,000 years to somewhere else,
Yeah.
the laws then would be,
Very simple, very less.
they might be very bizarre to us in some ways.
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
Now, here is the issue with that, and you have pinpointed it. If I wanted a legal system implemented in society, and I had a choice between one that is absolutely objective as opposed to one where it is going to have to be reliant on a certain group of human beings only, which one would you choose?
Logically, an objective
You're
set
right.
of laws would be better, more reliable than one which is
Now,
subjectively.
excellent. Now, James, here is the, I haven't finished.
That is why law is subjectively. We see laws change over time, according sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Did
sure
you just say sometimes for the worse?
Sometimes they introduce laws that affect people. Some people would say that they are negatively affected by some changes that have been made to law. Business law. Perhaps you're a businessman that owns a business.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could imagine a law changing that affects you adversely.
Yeah.
I can't think of one, but I'm not.
VAT at 20%.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
That varies.
But look, no, it's okay, James. Thank you. When I get tired, I'll pass it on to you. Yeah. But you see, James, I agree with you. But now look, we have to think about potential laws which are passed, which can potentially damage society. But now, for us to be able to establish what is potentially damaging, we would have to have an objective standard. Otherwise, as you rightly pointed out, it would all be subjective. So, for example, without wanting to denigrate a particular group, yes, where society had shunned a particular action for hundreds of years, that then is made legal. One has to question the validity of why it was made legal when for hundreds of years it was considered to be
illegal or prohibited.
Yeah.
Can we think of an example of that in practice?
Up to 1905
Right.
in the United Kingdom,
Yeah.
the relationships that were governed by law were not the same as they are today.
True.
Incestuous relationships were not considered illegal.
I didn't know that actually.
You do.
I did
Up to
know.
1967, for some, for up to 1967. Okay. We had, like I said, I'm not trying to denigrate any groups here.
Certainly.
It's just for the purpose of the discussion. Yeah. Up to 1967, homosexuality was a crime in the UK.
Yeah.
How many hundreds of years prior was it a crime?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds. But something fundamental happened in the 1960s for it to be legalized. What was it? Was it the sexual revolution? Was it psychology coming into the fore and establishing certain things that were considered to be what you would call illegal should really not be. Why? Because it is a personal element of the individual, and the individual should not in any way be considered to be the one that is being ruled against as an individual in his private life. So a distinction was made between what I do consensually as opposed to what can be considered to be illegal. So what made that change take place? Was it the sexual revolution of the 60s?
It would seem to be a combination of things
Factors.
like that,
Yeah.
and the changes we saw at a social and cultural level with things like the human rights in political
Spheres.
is a relatively recent thing
Yeah.
in human evolution. I
know what you mean.
I'm no expert on that at all.
I understand,
know
yeah.
It's in less than the past 100 years
Yeah.
that it's really come to the...
Now, this is the odd thing. Now, if we take another example, if we take alcohol as an example,
Yeah,
okay?
certainly.
Many years ago, it was made very clear that alcohol was good for you. Yeah?
Yep.
Then when further research took place, they found, well, it does have damaging effects. They did further research and they came down with units.
Yep. Recommended weekly units.
Yeah. After a few years, they reduced the units.
Yep.
For pregnant women, even more reduced. Not last year, the year before, it was now recommended that they must not drink at all. Why?
Damage to the unborn child.
But 50, 70 years ago,
They didn't.
we were not aware of it, were we?
But we weren't furnished with the information that we are aware of now.
Okay,
Through
excellent.
medical
Yeah.
research.
Yeah.
We simply did not know then what we do know
Now,
now.
excellent. Now look at the parallel here, James. Yeah? When they did the research, if they did any, we took it for granted that what they had said was entirely correct.
Generally speaking, most people accept.
So why do we have difficulty? Absolutely. So why would we have difficulty if information, I'm not going to call it a book, if information over 1,000 years ago relayed to humanity that alcohol is not good for you?
That may not be based on science, medical data. It could be.
James, sorry to
could be
interject.
based on observation of alcohol in effect.
Excellent.
We
Whatever.
know what drinking
Well, wait
does
a
to
minute.
people.
So how does it come down to specifics? So, for example, when it says they ask you concerning intoxicants, in it there is goodness and there is bad. The bad outweighs the good. How did it know that?
What do you think?
I'll tell you what. The parallel I drew, James. I drew this. Apologies.
Sorry.
I drew a parallel. I said all those years ago, when they told us something, we just agreed. We never went and did the research, did we? We just accepted what they said about alcohol. And then further research has shown it was good, it is bad, and the bad actually does outweigh the good. To the extent that a year and a half ago, for pregnant women, it's a total no-no. Now here is a question. Is it only for the pregnant women? Or should it be for the general public? If the research is showing that it may harm the unborn baby, the reaction is actually taking place in the human body of the mother. And then it goes through, to the baby. So if the human being is being affected, won't the male be affected like the female? Yes. So the question is this, if I can just finish, Jeff. Objectively speaking, a rule that tells you the goodness and the bad of a particular thing, to the extent that in detail it tells you what, has to be objective. For it to benefit humanity for all times, it would have to be a rule that does not emanate from a human being. Do you logically agree?
Why would that rule have to not have human origin?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, James. Because we just agreed that 50, 60 years ago, when they thought alcohol was very good, it came from a human being.
I am in ignorance about
Okay, understood.
Islam generally,
Okay.
but specifically at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace
Yeah.
be upon him,
Uh-huh.
when he arrived at the precept that alcohol should be haram under Islam. Where did that stricture come from? The idea that alcohol is haram substance under Islam. Did the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, arrive at that stricture? The things are haram. Alcohol is not the only one, is it? There
No.
are other, so
Intoxicants in general.
yeah. Previously, alcohol was its use widespread during the
Yes.
Middle East, throughout the
Yes, it was.
The brewing of alcoholic beverages, I believe,
It was.
originated
Thousands of years.
in the Near East, thousands of years ago.
Yeah,
So obviously, the use of alcohol was widespread and commonplace
yes,
throughout
yes.
the Near East before the emergence of Islam.
Absolutely, but
So,
James,
there's no objective ruling in place.
wait a minute.
then.
Here, I agree with you. But here is an issue that I had raised, because logically it always comes to the question you asked. You see, if I needed to know a substance having benefit and also harm, would I need to do chemical tests?
To reveal harm at a chemical level, we don't need that to see
How?
the damage.
No. Listen very carefully. In it, they ask you concerning intoxicant, alcohol.
Yeah.
Tell them there is in it good and there is in it bad. The bad outweighs the good. For us to arrive at that conclusion, we would have to necessarily research, test, and establish against individuals to decide. But that's about the drinking. I'm talking about the alcohol itself. How can we arrive at the conclusion that there is good and there is bad in it without doing the necessary chemical tests?
That, I must admit, I do not know.
Excellent.
How?
Let's take it one step further, though, James.
All
You
right.
see, if we have information like that, we are then told, look, this particular aspect of human, I'm not going to call it ingenuity, human invention,
Yeah.
for want of a better word,
Yeah. That's perfect.
is not good, full stop. Now, what I want you to consider is this, James, yeah? When we are told something is illegal in the United Kingdom,
Yeah.
is it made illegal because it is for the benefit of humanity or the people in the country?
That's very arguable because we see how smoking laws,
Yeah,
we can see on balance, I'm opposed to smoking. I'm not opposed to drinking alcohol. So
you have a contradiction in your mind.
it's subjective because
Whoa. Laws are made objectively, not subjectively. How they emanate is an issue. But look, there's a problem with what you just said, because now you have totally contradicted your position.
I see, I do that often.
Not to worry, James, but look, you see, when you talk about smoking, has research shown that it is bad for the human being?
I would say that research has shown that the smoking has a damaging effect on humans.
Right, but not only to humans, but also to third parties who are innocent of the smokers.
Certainly, yes.
So if it becomes a health hazard, shouldn't the country or the law step in?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you see how you're contradicting your
I am
position?
contradicting
Okay.
myself.
But now you see, we take it a step further.
Sorry, Shabir.
Yeah, sure.
We see. Surely, we realise that the damage done by something. It's not simply a question of whether it does damage or it does not do damage. It's an extent based on usage. I understand, I acknowledge the Islamic precepts against alcohol as a haram substance. It does a huge amount of damage
But it extends
at a
it-
social level.
No, but it
a
extends it.
societal level.
But James, it extends it to drugs also.
Again, my
Now, are you
ignorance,
telling me-
I'm not sure of
Not to
the
worry.
haram status
Yeah, well, there is.
of drug items.
There
in
is. But
Islam.
now, the issue that we need to ask ourselves is this. Surely, if an objective rule came down, okay, and I use the example of alcohol because it is right all around us, yeah,
It's the most common one.
and drugs. Now,
Certainly.
are you familiar with the damage caused by people who are alcoholics?
All too well.
Okay. Do you see the damage that drunk people do to their family members when they go into the houses?
Undoubtedly, yes.
Okay. If you look at the problem, every time I want you to try this, yeah? You read any court issue, people in the magistrate's court, they were arrested for damaging, beating, this, that, and the other. 99%
Alcohol's
of them.
often the determining factor in that.
Now, you tell me, where is the logic here? Okay? If me and you came across a situation and we had the power to change the law, we came across a situation where constantly innocent people are being assaulted as a result of an individual ingesting something, what would we do about it?
Outlaw that substance.
There you are. You answered the question yourself.
Thank you.
The question is this, James, though. You see, when we logically sit down and think, we will arrive at different conclusions to what we think we actually arrive at. Now, to me, it is simple. If I know that there are certain precepts which seem to adhere to my definition or essence as a human being, there must be a reason for that, surely.
A reason or a number of reasons of
Whichever.
the idea that there must be a deity,
A
in
creator.
place call him. I
creator.
have to be careful because
No, with me
calling-
you can be free.
Calling your creator as a creator,
Our creator.
Again, I deny and disbelieve
No, you don't.
in the existence
What
of
you are
your
saying,
creator,
what you are saying to
our
me,
creator.
what you are saying to me, James, currently, you don't have the necessary information to make an informed decision about a creator.
I'm afraid you've lost me at some point. Easily done over how
No.
how the fact of alcohol being a haram substance
Yeah.
necessarily indicates the existence of
A
your
creator.
creator to then objectively mandate alcohol as haram.
Excellent. I'll put in the
I
missing
come here
dot.
confused, and when I meet you, I go away even more confused.
No, not at
by
all.
what I've heard and said.
We shall clarify it. Look, I asked for a totally objective rule. Now, for it to be totally objective, it has to, by definition, be beyond the realm of human interference. Do you understand? Do you agree?
I think so. Yes.
Excellent.
Something that is
Something that is
objectively true.
Yeah.
Is true regardless of my or your.
Yeah,
regard
exactly.
for
And regardless of which society or country or whatever. Now, I am saying to you that everything that the Quran talks about in relation to the benefit that human beings accrue from the Quran are rules that are totally objective. When I say that, what I mean is that they transcend the ability of the human being to the extent that when a rule has come down, we may not primarily or at the outset fully understand the import of why this has come down, but research will show us. And look at this, yes? And I use the example of alcohol, James, yeah? And its association with why I said there is a creator, yeah? Alcohol, if it was made illegal for the human beings, in particular the Muslims, yeah? 1,500 odd years ago, we have already established that the kind of necessary testing that we would have to undertake to find its goodness and its badness, yeah, up to the late 60s, in fact, up to the late 2000, 2010, 2015, research finally showed why it is very damaging to human beings. Now, the question is this, and the parallel I drew. If we, even today, if I went into a doctor's and I told him, you know what, I've got a backache, he will ask me various questions. It's like it is scripted, yeah? But because experience has shown them that if X says Y, then it should be Z, yeah? So I go in and I say, I've got lower back pain. Okay, did you lift anything heavy? No. Did somebody kick you? No. Do you play a lot of sports? Yes. Ah, okay. Lie down, tick, 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 he'll do that, and he'll arrive at a conclusion. And he will tell me, oh Shabir, don't worry about it. It's just a bit of a slight muscle pull. Just apply this cream and hey presto, everything's good. As a human being, James, what will I do? Number one, I went to him because I consider him to be an authority in medicine. Correct?
Agreed, yeah.
I now take what he has given without wanting to go and research and see whether he has got it right or not. 99% of human beings, we do that. Yeah? I will go and I will say yes. I tell you what happened 2 weeks ago. I suffered from a kidney stone. The pain was excruciating, okay? The ambulance came and took me. I went into the hospital from 8 o'clock at night until 2 in the morning. No one had attended to me, yeah?
Right.
And I am writhing in pain. But the whole place was full of people, so I understood. They do the test at 3 in the morning. 15 minutes later, he comes in and he says, Shabir, we are going to have to keep you in because we have found a renal problem. I said, okay.
Sure.
First thing we are going to have to do is scan you. Now, they'd given me painkillers by then, so I'm chilling and thinking, right, okay, renal problem they've talked about, let's see what it is. In the morning, they wheel me into the scanning. Scan me, come back. The doctor comes. He says, I've got good news for you. Because he had told me the procedures they were thinking of doing, either putting a stent to have the kidney drained.
Yeah.
Not a problem. He says, you know what, the kidney has moved. So not the kidney, the stone has, the stone has moved, not the kidney. Yeah, the stone had moved into the bladder area. So he said there isn't anything to do. Let it just pass. Let it just pass. Now, did I go home saying, yeah, he's got it wrong?
No, you trusted what he had told you.
Okay, but now here is the issue. Unless and until we ourselves as individuals test the veracity of this message that claims to be from a creator, can we really make a conclusion?
Not fairly based on what you said, no.
So now you have to accept a present from me, a Quran, and then we'll meet again in 2 years. By then you will have studied it. How about that, James?
I always enjoy talking to you.
Likewise,
I
likewise.
think I'm never too sure.
Come on, my friend. Oh yeah, we can give him this. There you are. Have a read of it. But listen, James. Anytime I'm available, I can give you my personal number if you want. And you are one of those rare individuals who I do give the personal number
Okay,
to.
thank you, Shabir. It's always a pleasure to talk to
Have you got a pen?
You can take it on his mobile.
Have you got your
Yeah,
mobile
yeah,
with
of
you?
course,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let me give it to you. That must be cut off.
Yes. No.
I'll tell you what.
Take them off.
No. Don't worry. I'll just type
Don't
it.
do it.
I'll just type it. Don't worry. In that way, you can't see. Super job. Super. Give me a missed call and I will grab it. So I know what your number is. Anytime, James, you can call me. And I mean that. Even if it is at night, I don't mind. Whether I answer it is another issue. But call you can definitely. Pleasure speaking to you again,
you,
James.
Shabir, again,
You look
as
after yourself,
always.
my friend. Okay. Excellent.
Okay.